We are here, we make change to your life in every way. We expand on your mind, so you're never the same. In your health, in your wealth, in your body and soul. Pushing you to live life completely whole, so you grow and achieve all this purpose to be. We expect nothing less, no more mediocrity. We are greatest. 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 We are greatest.
They follow the law of the universe. Let me tell you something. When Thomas Edison,
but I want you to understand
the point.
something.
Keep
I want
going.
you to know.
Keep trying. Keep failing. Ella Wheeler Wilcox said, "You never can tell what a thought will do in bringing you hate or love. For thoughts are things, and their airy wings are swifter than carrier doves. They follow the law of the universe. Each thing creates its own kind, and it speeds over the track to bring its way back to whatever went out from your mind. Thoughts are things." I'm about to take you on a journey through the theater of your mind. I want you to close your eyes for me for just a second. I want you to imagine pulling up to the local movie spot. Imagine pulling up and taking your left hand and opening up the door. You open up the door and you walk up to the front. You're excited about the movie that you're getting ready to watch. You tell the lady which movie you want to see. You slide your money in and she slides you your ticket. Then you walk up to the door. You take your right hand and you open up that door. And as soon as you open up the door, the smell of hot buttery popcorn just goes into your nostrils. Open up your eyes. That's an example of the theater of your mind. I have manifested many things in my life by walking through the theater of my mind before it happened. You can do the same thing. Thoughts are things. This is Dexter L. Scott, and I'm the voice that motivates. Now, did you smell the popcorn?
One thing in life that I've come to understand is you have to know who you are in order to defy limitations. See, knowing who you are helps you to begin to create and communicate how valuable you really are. I want you to understand something. I want you to take some time and I want you to really evaluate the beauty that's within inside of you. You know, one thing that I asked recently of several people that I was in conversation with is simply this: how great are you? Who are you? I want you to get comfortable in communicating the beauty within. So today, I want you to take some time today, at least 5 times, to be able to share with somebody else something great about yourself. Please understand this, because I've lived it, I've owned it, and I know it. Do this. Know your limitations, then defy them.
We are here, we make change to your life.
My name is Tonya, Joyner-Scott. My husband and I are affectionately known as the Upgraders, and we're basically helping people change every aspect of their life.
Hey guys, this is Dexter. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia at Derek Blank Studio here at my wife Tonya. We're the Upgraders. We're so glad to be here today.
We are greatest.
Kind of goofing around in front of the camera. We had some great shots, and I had like this jean shirt and some jeans on earlier, some white Nikes. It was cool. I mean, the concepts, just showing who I am in a different light. People don't know who you are, so people do business with folks that they know, they like, and they trust, right? So for us, branding is getting kind of an insight into who you are. So you have to be authentic with the brand.
We wanted to capture some images of ourselves. We wanted to just have a little bit of fun and kind of show the people out there, some who know us, some who don't, who we are, what we stand for, what you can expect if you ever decide to touch bases and work with us.
Hey guys, my name is Tyler. I got photoshoted by my sister. It was fun. When the light went off, I had to close my eyes because it was way too bright. The thing's big. We wore a white polo shirt with the white Nike shoes and jeans.
We started out with a really, really fun, flirty jumpsuit. And it was like an asymmetric number, a little bit trendy, but still classy and regal. She carried it really, really well. As each picture she took, each look, she just brought the looks alive, and they rested well on her. She wore every look amazingly well.
My photographer was absolutely amazing. It's none other than my daughter, Talia Breon.
We just watched Talia's formation of who she is from videos, models, her viewpoint. So it's exciting to watch her in her craft to shoot us.
I just think it's amazing how outside of, personal and just the dynamic of a child to their parents, just being able to service each other and help everyone progress. They're helping my business. I'm able to help their brand. And everything is about progression. That's who the upgraders are. So if they're gonna upgrade people, then I have to make sure I'm doing my best to upgrade them.
The upgraders want to see you living your best life now. The upgraders want to see you making a change, and that could happen in so many ways. A lot of times people want to say, I haven't changed, but it's not true. If you're growing and if you're upgrading in life, there's always change. Everybody deserves to get to know you better. Everybody deserves to hear who you are and what it is that you can offer. The only way this world can be a better place is if you know how important you are to it. That's what the Upgraders is all about.
Okay, thank God. Can I get this thing off of me?
There's a gentleman by the name of Morris D. Ralph. Now, Morris decided that he wanted to create the greatest industrial degreaser that the world has ever seen. So he went into his lab and he started putting together some formulas. He tried it once, it failed. He kept going. He tried it 10 times, it failed. He tried it 100 times, it failed. He said, okay, must be doing something. Let me keep going. So he tried it 200 times. He failed. He tried 300 times. He failed. He tried over 400 times. He got to the 408th application of this degreaser, and it failed again. But he tried one more time. Ladies and gentlemen, today you can go into any grocery store chain and find Formula 409. Morris D. Ralph said, you know what? Failure is simply an opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. Let me tell you something. When Thomas Edison went to create the incandescent light bulb, he said, I have not failed. I just tried 9,999 ways that didn't work. So here's the point. Keep going, keep trying, keep failing, fail better. This is Dexter L. Scott, and I am the voice that motivates.
There's a quote that I would hear my husband quote often by Henry Ford, and it says, failure is really the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. That thing really helped me. Why? Fear. I was so afraid to fail. So what it is that I want you to understand and I want you to think about is, it's a matter of focus, a matter of what you entertain. There are a lot of things that may come your way that will have you afraid to actually take a step, to try, to put forth effort. But I want you to understand something. I want you to know that in order for you to do anything in life, all it takes from you is to just put forth effort. And I'm gonna ask you a question. I really want you to think about this. What have you ever been afraid of? Are you still here? What did it do to you? Did it stop you? Did it cut your life off? No. That's why we're sitting here talking to each other right now. I want you to remember that quote by Henry Ford. Failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. Don't you dare be afraid. This is Tonya Joyner-Scott. I want you to know your limitations and then defy them.
Bruce Lee said, free your mind, let it be shapeless and formless like water. If you put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. If you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. If you put water into a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Water can either expand or it can crash. Be water, my friend. When we talk about the mindset, we talk about what we think. What you think about the longest becomes the strongest. Where your mind goes, your energy flows. So my question to you is, what are you thinking about? What I want to challenge you to do is take your present mindset, take your present dream, and I want you to multiply it times 100. Why am I telling you to do that? Because if you shoot for the moon and if you don't hit, you'll land among the stars. This is Dexter L. Scott, and I am the voice that motivates.
Who are you? As I ask that question and you think, are you able to give me an answer? It was a long time before I really began to understand who I am. Identity. Identity is so important. Why? When you understand who you are, you begin to behave as such. However you see yourself, you behave as such. I had to come to a place of truly beginning to understand who I am so that I could live the life that was intended for me to live. See, there's things seeded into each and every one of us as we were being formed. There's a purpose that's within you. There's a passion that's within you. In order for you to execute that in the now, you have to come to terms with who you are and live it. You know, I'm known to tell people that I'm Mrs. Dexter Scott. So I behave as such. I'll eat his food, I'll put on his shirt, I'll sleep in his bed. Why? Because I know who I am. I behave as such. All I want you to do is to come to grips, to come to terms with who it is that you are so that you can execute it in every facet of your life. My name is Tonya Joyner-Scott. I want you to know who you are. Argue for your value, but do not argue for your limitations.
There's a quote that says, leap and grow your wings on the way down. If you take a look at a spider, when a spider travels from one plant to the other or one building to the other, they don't calculate where they're going, they just leap. They shoot their silk up into the air and they catch the next wind and it carries them from one destination to the next. Leap and grow your wings on the way down. This is Dexter L. Scott, and I am the voice that motivates.
Mirror, mirror on the wall. I bet you're waiting for me to ask you a question. I don't have a question. I have a statement. It's time to talk to you about who I am. Hurt people. We hear that a lot, don't we? Why? Because we owned what it is that people have said. We've allowed those hurts, the struggles, to become our identity. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Power, resilience, determination. You see, I used to look to you, and I waited for you to give me the essence of who I am. I used to look to you and listen for your voice to give me a description of what I was to do. Those days are over. I now look to you
to tell you who it is that I am and who it is that I will become. There's vision, there's insight, there's so much that's already been deposited. It wasn't for you to validate, but it was for me to give unto you in order for it to be celebrated. Beauty is a part of discovery. Identity is a part of purpose. Discover the passion within.
Mediocrity. At the end of each day, we have not challenged our own mediocrity. We are destined to repeat a cycle of complacency. Remain in the pursuit of becoming, because if you ever catch yourself, you might slip into mediocrity. These are two quotes that I came up with because I recognize that in my life at some point I was operating in mediocrity. My freshman year of college, I was on a scholarship. The end of that first semester, I had a 1.9 GPA and immediately got into academic probation. I recognized at that time that I was operating in mediocrity. So I began to challenge myself. And my senior year of college, I graduated with a 3.5 GPA, being on the vice chancellor's list and the president's list. You must remain in the pursuit of becoming, because if you ever catch yourself, you might slip into mediocrity. There's a quote that says that ships look beautiful sitting in the harbor, but that's not what they were created for. You were not created for mediocrity.
Tonya had to grow up, and I had to come to realize that for any service that you provide, you also have to be compensated for it.
And that actually just took me back to the beginning stages of when we started business.
Because the only way the business world, the only way the world in general is going to continue to go, is going to continue to have surplus, is if we're feeding one another's gifts. And that's the biggest thing that I've learned since I've been a part of entrepreneurships.
Be comfortable with the no's. Everybody's not going to see your vision, and that's okay. While it is a part of the process, we need to grow from it.
I've had to learn how sometimes to say yes, sometimes to say no. I've had to learn that maybe you can't work with me right now, but there is someone that you can work with.
I remember when the gentleman came and appraised our home, and I was able to get involved in real estate appraisal. So that's exactly what I did.
Tonya did this for a long time. I argued for my limitations. I would find reasons as to why I shouldn't do something or reasons why I can't do something. And I've now learned to argue for my value.
I went on this mission to appraise properties. I found a couple of different supervisors, and I did around 500 houses within a 2-year span.
As an entrepreneur, your value will change. Everybody has to start. And when you start, it may be where I'm just now learning and I can't do some of the things that I see other people doing. That happens.
So now it's time for me to take the real estate appraisal examination as a trainee. I went in to take the test. It was a 4-hour exam in math. I mean, it was, oh my God, you could not realize how hard it was. So at the end of the 4 hours, I hit enter on the keyboard. It submitted instantly my grades to the center in which I was testing.
As you continue to grow in knowledge, as you continue to increase in knowledge and understanding and wisdom, then what's gonna come with that is your value is also increasing.
I walked up to the desk. The lady said, Mr. Scott, can you come up here for a minute? And I walked up to the desk and the lady said, I'm sorry, but you failed your examination. I didn't even call my wife Tonya to tell her I failed the exam, but it took me 2 days to get over that.
Which means people now may not be able to afford you that could afford you before. People now that you work with will be on another level, another caliber, and you have to be okay with that.
It just took me back, and I said, by how many points? She said 3 points. And it was almost as if somebody just put a truck on my head. I just sank down in, I would like to call a small depression.
When you argue for your value, you have to be able to get to a place where you say, this is who I am, this is what I can do, this is how I can help you, so this is what you can expect from me.
And what I realized in the last few years is that studying different people that are successful, that were successful, is that failure is a part of the process. That's what I had to learn as an adult.
It's amazing to me because in life, do you know what we do? We pay people for their other value. Let's talk business. Even in McDonald's, they say, you want to upgrade that? Well, if you say yes, they don't charge you the same amount that they would have if you kept it where it was.
Public speaking for me started when I was a child reading scripture in church. I was always the one that they call on to do the responsive reading. So here I am, I'm nervous, and they say responsive reading, Dexter Scott. So I walk up and I put the Bible and I put it, on the thing, and I say, I'm reading from blah, blah, blah. And then I read the scripture, may the Lord add a blessing to the reading of his word. Then I go sit down. So after church, you know how the mothers at church will come up to you and say, oh, baby, one day you're going to be a pastor. Oh, baby, they saying all this kind of stuff. But what I realize is that is what birthed the voice within me.
An upgrade means increase. Increase for them as well as for you. We give our attention so often to many people, but we don't know how to give it back to ourselves.
To be able to speak a certain way, to change my diaphragm, my delivery with power and all those kinds of things. That's where it was birthed.
I'm from a two-parent household. We have 4 children in our family. My dad was in law enforcement. He started off he went into the military right after high school, and then he was a police officer, and then he moved into being a detective. He was a crime scene investigator. And my mother, I've always known my mom, she was a supervisor. She was the one that managed a team. And I remember the names of some companies, but I remember them building things that would actually go on ships.
Very close-knit family. My mom and father, they both were North Carolina state government employees. My mom was in the education system. My father worked for the Department of Corrections. So we were a family close-knit. We always saw the 8 to 5 grind of working for the government. My father had a part-time job. So we saw him, but we didn't see him as much because he was making a way for his family. So Don and Hope were always bookworms. I mean, they would chew through books, big boxes of books. They would just read all the time, all summer long, just reading.
And I can remember a lot of our childhood friends, they would reference us as the Huxtables. Now, the Huxtables, he was a doctor, she was an attorney, and you were watching them and the different things that they were doing. We weren't doing those kinds of things, but people still saw us as such. My mom and dad, they were absolutely wonderful. They taught us well. We had responsibilities. My sister and I, chores.
Greg and I were always outside doing something. Whether it was digging up worms to go fishing. I mean, we would literally get up, take a hoe, dig into the earth, right? We had cows, so we had a big cow pasture in the back of the house. We would dig up worms and put the worms in a little jar, get on our bicycles and ride for miles to a fishing hole that we wanted to just go fishing, just stay gone all day.
My younger brother, we're 8 years apart. My older brother, he's 5 years my senior. Every Saturday morning, we iron my daddy's shirt for work. So all of his shirts were always ironed and ready for him to go to work the following week. While Soul Train was playing, I was ironing clothes. So we just took care of our responsibilities. My parents instilled so much in us. One thing that I can say is hard work.
We picked cucumbers. And, I think it speaks to who we are as adults today. My father and mother, we would get up. This is the summer now. School's out. My father planted cucumbers. We would get up like 6 a.m.
My parents didn't make excuses. They did whatever needed to be done for it to be done. My dad was truly a protector. He saw a lot. He was a homicide detective. So I can remember one day in particular where we did have a conversation with him and where he was describing some things that he had seen.
It was like 100 degrees outside. And my father would take the earnings from those bags of cucumbers and he would split it 4 ways. And we would have to take our proceeds, give him half, put in the bank, and we were allowed to spend the other half. So this is how we grew up. I mean, while it was just brutal back then, it taught us a lot of lessons, and we loved it, man. It's who we are today.
He protected us even in the things that he shared.
My mother would always say, son, the only thing you have is your name and your credit.
We have always had a strong family. There has always been love, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Hey, look, Greg and I, we would go out with our father Saturday morning fishing, and we would catch fish. When we got home, we would clean the fish. My mom's in the house making coleslaw and had the fries ready to go in the grease. We saw how you don't go to the grocery store to get what you need. You go out and you catch it, and you go out and kill what you're going to eat, which is also a business principle.
The upgraders.